AMD is down 35%, so now it's time to buy the dip. Let's talk about the details and opportunities for investors. Welcome back. We're here to take a look at Advanced Micro Devices. AMD saw its share prices rise significantly in 2023 and early 2024, fueled by expectations of an AI-driven boom similar to that experienced by NVIDIA. However, AMD's share price has since fallen by 35% from its peak. Thomas, what do investors need to know? Tell us more about these Q1 results we're looking at.
Well, I think the Q1 results were good. They were pretty solid. And what we're seeing in the charts is the bubble driven by should say a wave more than a bubble, because this is the first wave crashing in AI, not so much as a bubble that's bursting that's going to go away. But this wave crashing with AI drove the stock up. And so performance hasn't really been exceeding expectations enough to keep the stock price rising. We've had a reset of the market. But now we have these results, which are still pretty solid. So it seems like the market has kind of come back into alignment with reality. What I see in the results is that everything is just exactly as expected. But like Chris was saying a little while ago, there is this bifurcation in the tech industry, tech market. And you can see that in the results. AMD has 4 core operating segments. 2 of them are growing, 2 of them are contracting, resulting in near flat results YOY. But looking forward, what we're expecting is some normalization in those 2 underperforming businesses to stop offsetting the growth in the 2 growing businesses. And so sequentially throughout the year, results should start to accelerate.
Imagine investing in the next big stock before it hits its peak. Our exclusive report, 7 stocks that could be bigger than Tesla, NVIDIA, and Google, introduces you to the growth stocks set to skyrocket, offering unmatched returns for your investment. These aren't just any stocks, they're the carefully selected potential market leaders of tomorrow. Download this free report now to discover the next big superstars. So looking at these results, how does it kind of compare with market expectations and compared to previous quarters?
Well, the company is growing, but it's not growing gangbusters the way NVIDIA is. But the thing is, the core segments that are the most closely aligned with NVIDIA are growing. And that's in the data center segment, which is up 80%, and in the client segment, which is up 85%. Both of those segments are leaning heavily into AI capabilities. We have the MI300 chips involved in that mix, as well as the Ryzen chipsets. The Ryzen chipsets are going into a lot of computers. So AMD is really like launching the first wave of like AI at the edge for all of us to be able to use in our computers.
Now, what about the guidance provided by AMD for the upcoming quarters? What growth or challenges are we anticipating here? And Chris, I want to hear you jump in on this one. Are supply chain constraints a cause for worry at all right now for investors?
Well, I'll let Thomas talk about the supply chain issue. One of the concerns that I get, and I don't know if it's a concern that AMD is expressing, but one concern that I think is here in the chip sector is this is why interest rates matter. In the sectors where AI is performing well, the consumers, even if they're in smaller businesses that aren't profitable, they have to spend on those things. They have to spend in the data center area. They're going to have to spend in AI or they're going to get left behind. In some of these other areas where AI might be lagging, if you're a company where there's a little bit of cost pressure coming in from higher interest rates, that may be something where you don't necessarily want to spend as much right now. That'll be something to watch for now, especially as we've gotten information that the Fed is going to keep interest rates higher for longer, even if that doesn't mean raising them anytime soon. It also means that they're probably not going to be lowering them anytime soon.
Right. As far as supply constraints go, chatter from the analysts is that there is some tight supply in the chip market. And we know that because the demand for these AI empowered chips has been so high that all the foundries are struggling to keep up and catch up. And so they're all investing in more capability. So what we're seeing right now is that the supply tightness is supposed to alleviate as the year progresses. And that's supposed to open up potential for upside outperformance. And right now, what the analysts are saying is that AMD has probably sandbagged its guidance and could potentially outperform by a significant amount. Of course, that has kind of been the expectation for
Yeah.
the last couple of quarters. So whether or not that happens or
Right.
not is yet to be seen. But I think in the end, it really will come down to the normalization of the two underperforming segments,
Right.
so they can stop impacting the top line as much as they are.
Now, with AMD stock at what some analysts are considering rock bottom, what buying opportunities might exist for investors?
Well, let's pull up the chart. All right, so you can see how this bubble forms right here, this AI-driven bubble. Stock hits a peak because the market starts to get concerned that results really won't live up to the expectation. We get this 35% correction, but this correction is starting to show signs of support and a potentially overextended market ready to rebound. These low levels align with the analysts. Actually, they're below the analysts' lowest targets, suggesting a deep value opportunity. So what we have going on here is just some price discovery. The market knows that AI is driving the price higher. We're not sure how much higher it's going to be, but this correction, or the bubble and the correction, both overran reality. Somewhere in the middle is where the stock is really valued right now. Over time, that value should increase because revenue and earnings really are expected to start accelerating and growing faster as soon as the next quarter, and to continue accelerating into the end of the year.
Looking ahead, what would you say are some of the key indicators that investors should really be focusing on that might influence their stock performance?
Well, for AMD, one of the big segments that's hurting results right now is the gaming sector. So if we see some improvement in gaming demand from other companies, that could play into AMD's return to growth and accelerating growth. And the same thing with the embedded market. The embedded market has had an inventory problem for the last couple of years.
Right.
We thought that those inventory issues would be more resolved by now. It's taking a little bit longer than expected, but that's still supposed to happen before the end of the fiscal year. So that segment should return to growth by the end of this year.
Chris, any final thoughts?
You know, this is one of those that this 35% pullback is a gift if you're a long-term investor in AMD, because like Thomas said, we're in the price discovery phase. You don't know necessarily where the ceiling is for AMD, but you know that you're probably pretty close to where the floor is. And this is a good opportunity to get in and buy some shares, you know, take a position now, because again, you don't get these type of pullbacks very often. So this is a good time to get in.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to this update on AMD. As always, we'll be keeping an eye on this stock and many more right here at MarketBeat. So don't forget to tune in for the latest analysis. Until next time, we'll talk soon.